All right, so I said in the next video that I was going to show you how to find the inverse of that last one, but I forgot that the next question was asking you how to find the inverse of this one. So we're just going to do this one instead. Okay, so if you're going to solve and use row operations of an augmented matrix to find the inverse of a matrix, you're going to set this up, and then you're going to set up this on your other side, right? And then you're just slowly breaking down. Again, you're kind of avoiding this to start because there's really no need. I always like to just start here and kind of work my way through. So if I'm going to start here, if I did row 1 plus negative, and I just like doing plus because I forget about doing. But if I just multiplied that or added that to negative R2 to give me my new R2, by making this negative, that's going to turn this to be positive, and then when I add them together, this will zero that out. So this row is going to stay the same. And I'm looking at this, and there is definitely not going to be enough room. So that's going to stay the same. This one's going to stay the same. And these are really just like a big Rubik's Cube puzzle. And sometimes you're going to go in a direction that doesn't work, and you might need to stop and go back and change. And I know for y'all that's not like a thing that we love to do, but it's just the way that it is. So if you make this whole row negative, all right, that's going to turn this positive. So negative 2 plus positive 2, that's going to give us 0. Positive 5 plus negative 2 is going to give us 3. This is going to stay negative 2 because the 0 doesn't change anything. This is going to stay positive 1 because 1 plus negative 0 is still 1. This 0 plus negative 1 is going to become negative 1. And 0 plus 0 is going to stay 0. So that's your first step. So you've gotten 1, 0. That's awesome. Good start. Again, I kind of just like to slowly like work my way down. If anything works out really nicely, maybe I'll mess with that one. So like right now, if I take row 3 and I add it to row 1, it could zero this one out. So if I wanted to do that, I could do that too. It really doesn't matter. You can go in whatever order your heart desires, but I'm going to try to do this one next. So if I do 3 times R1, that's going to give me negative 6 for this one. And then if I add negative 2R3 to give me my new R3, that's going to change this to a positive 6, and then they'll cancel out. So let's do that one next. So these are going to stay the same. 5, negative 2, 1, 0, 0. This is going to stay the same because we're not messing with this row either right this second. And it's this last row that's going to change. So I'm going to come back over here, and I'm just going to write my work that goes with it. So if I do 3 times R1, that's going to give me negative 6. That's going to give me positive 15. That's going to give me negative 6 again. Then positive 3, 0, 0. And then if I do negative 2 times this one, negative 2 times negative 3 is going to give me positive 6. Negative 2 times negative 2 is going to give me positive 4. Negative 2 times positive 2 is going to give me negative 4. Then this is going to, oops, let's move this over. Negative 4 over here. This is going to stay 0, this is going to stay 0, and this can become negative 2. So when I add those together, that's going to give me 0. 15 plus 4 is going to give me 19. That's a really ugly number. Negative 6 and negative 4 is going to give me negative 10. And then this is going to give me positive 3, 0, negative 2. So that first row is all done, and at least that's, or that first column except for the first one's done. And then again, it really does just become like playing with the rows. And like I said, that last row is ugly right now. So maybe the one I chose to do wasn't the best thing that I could have chose to do, but we're still going to work with it. So next one, I can go and I can try to zero out whatever I want to try to zero out. So if I want to zero out this 5 right here, my best bet might be to use this 3. I definitely don't want to use this 19 just because that's such an ugly number. And so if I wanted to zero that out, I could multiply my first row by 3, and I could add negative 5 R2, and that could give me my new R1. So they'll both go up to 15, and then they can zero each other out. So in this case, these are actually going to stay the same. So I can rewrite these. 1, negative 1, 0, 3, 0, negative 2. Okay, so if I do 3 times R1 and I add on negative 5 times R2, that's going to be 3 times negative 2 plus 0 is just going to give me negative 6. These are going to cancel each other out because you're going to have 15 plus negative 15. That's going to give me 0. This one's going to give me negative 6, and then negative times a negative is going to give me a positive 10. So negative 6 plus positive 10 is going to give me a positive 4. 3 plus negative 5 is going to give me a negative 2. 0, and then negative 5 times negative 1 is going to be a positive 5. So this is going to be a positive 5, and this is going to stay 0. Okay, I'm going to skip, like I said, most of the time I like to then go try to do this one, but that 19 I'm going to avoid for a second. If I try to go do this, one right now, when I add up, like whether I use this row or this row, that's going to change that 0 that I just got. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this negative 2. So zero out the negative 2.